So we're going to find out where each of these reference angles are, just bringing us back to that definition from your notes. So first of all, 170 degrees. Which quadrant is 170 degrees in? And if you're ever not sure, you should know these horizontal and vertical angles.
It's in the second quadrant.
So you should know those angles by heart. But yes, this one, notice, 170, that's between 90 and 180, so we know it's here in the second quadrant. Technically, it's going to be about there, closer to 180 than 90. Now, when doing these questions about reference angles, we answer the question by figuring out what is the angle formed between that's the radius in your notes, and the horizontal that is closest to it. Now, notice which way horizontal is going. Every now and then I say, what's the closest horizontal? And somebody tells me 90 degrees. That's vertical. The horizontals are 0, 180, 360, etc. All right. So then, if this is where 170 is, what is the angle between 170 and 180? Yeah, it's 10. Because we're just going to be doing 180 minus the 170. The trick of it is knowing that the 180 is the number that I'm comparing it to, because that's the nearest horizontal. So like, take a look at the next one, 297. First of all, which quadrant is 297 degrees in? It is in the fourth quadrant, yes. Because it's more than 270, less than 360. So it's somewhere down there. Now notice what the closest horizontal is in this case. It's this over here, which looks like it's 0, but it's not really 0. Because I'm wanting to know what the measure of this part of the angle is. Well, that means I'm going all the way around the circle to get back to that horizontal. Having gone around a full time means I'm not treating it as 0, I'm treating it as 360. And so then I can figure out what's the measure of this angle between the two. And so I'm going to end up doing 360 minus 297. When you do that, you should get an answer of 63 degrees. That's our reference angle. That's what we're looking for. Now, a little side note here. What if somebody switched those numbers around? What if you ended up actually doing 297 minus 360? That would give you negative 63. Will your reference angle ever be negative? No. They're always positive because it's just the difference between those two. It's like, how wide is that angle? And so it's always going to be a positive number. Now, with that in mind, having done those first two in detail, take a moment, look at the remaining three, figure out what each of those answers would be, and then we'll talk them through here in just a moment. All right, so for 267, first of all, you got to figure out what quadrant it's in. In this case, it's in the third quadrant, although just barely. It's actually really, really close to 270. But since it is in the third quadrant, that means the closest horizontal is 180. So we're going to do 267 minus 180. You should get an answer here of 87 degrees. 94, again, you start by figuring out where is that on the circle. It's up here in the second quadrant. Notice that one is also closest to 180. In this case, we're going to do 180 minus 94, which gives me 86 degrees. And finally, 400. In order to get to 400, we go around the circle one full time, and then we go up an extra 40 degrees. So that means it's up here, and the closest horizontal, since it's in the first quadrant, is this. At that point, having gone around a full time, where I'm calling that 360, not 0. And so 400 minus 360 gives me 40 degrees, and that would be my reference angle there.